Before the world came to know him as the only 8-division champion in boxing history, Manny Pacquiao was just a boy from the rough outskirts of Cabal, a poverty-stricken town in the Bukidnon province of Mindanao, Philippines. He was born on December 17, 1978, into a family that knew more hunger than comfort, more struggle than peace. The family lived in a bamboo shack with a thatched roof and dirt floors. It was not uncommon for Manny to go days without a real meal. His father, Rosalio Pacquiao, was a farmer, while his mother, Dionysia Dapadran, did domestic work. However, tragedy struck early. When Manny was a young boy, his father left the family after a heated dispute. According to Dionysia, Rosalio killed and ate Manny's beloved dog, a moment that broke young Manny's heart and sparked a lifelong mistrust and pain. His father's departure forced his mother to raise 6 children by herself. Manny started selling bread and water on the streets at a very young age. He was barefoot most of the time, walking for hours to sell food, just to afford a handful of rice. The weight of responsibility fell on his shoulders too early, yet it was during this struggle that his fighting spirit was born. He would fight kids in the streets for fun or for protection, and he often won. His escape came through the small black and white television they owned. Manny idolized Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali. Even though he couldn't understand everything they said, he understood their power. Ali's grace and defiance, Lee's agility and philosophy, they planted seeds in Manny's imagination. But it wasn't just admiration, it was aspiration. At 12 years old, he watched his first real boxing match live, and something inside him clicked. He began training in secret, building punching bags out of rags and rice sacks. He was hungry, not just for food, but for greatness. At 14, he ran away from home, boarded a ship to Manila, and began a life on the streets. He slept in cardboard boxes and worked odd jobs, construction, gardening, and janitorial duties, all while training under makeshift boxing coaches. That would be the start of his destiny. Manny was dirt poor, homeless, and too young to legally fight. Yet he found his way into the seedy underground of boxing in Manila. At age 14, he lied about his age to compete in professional fights. He weighed just 98 pounds. Since the minimum requirement was 105 pounds, he stuffed rocks in his pockets and drank water to meet the weigh-in. That's how desperate he was to earn. He trained at the L&M gym in Manila, sleeping in the ring after everyone else left. His coach, Rodel Mayal, saw something wild in him, rage mixed with discipline. It was rare. Manny trained every single day like his life depended on it, because it did. He was fighting for meals, for purpose, for survival. By 16, he made his professional debut against Edmund Inting Ignacio and won in a 4-round decision. The local boxing circuit was brutal and underpaid. Manny fought regularly in small arenas and town fiestas. His first 11 fights earned him pocket change, but it kept him alive. His style was raw and aggressive. No one taught him the art of defense yet. His entire tactic was speed, volume, and power. Many dismissed him as a wild slugger from the provinces, but he kept winning. By 1998, he knocked out Chache Sasikal of Thailand to win his first world title, the WBC flyweight title. He was just 19. No one from the Philippines had done it that young. And yet, he lost the title in his next fight due to weight problems. He had grown too big for the division, and his crash diet weakened him. This early setback would teach him his first painful lesson. Talent isn't enough. You need strategy and support. After losing his flyweight title, many thought Pacquiao would fade into the pool of forgotten one-time champions. But he wasn't done. He moved up in weight and began destroying opponents in the super bantamweight division. It was during this time that he started attracting international attention. But it wasn't until he met Freddie Roach that the world truly saw what Manny was capable of. Freddie Roach, a former fighter and legendary trainer based in Wildcard Gym, saw something raw and dangerous in Pacquiao. During their first training session in 2001, Roach noticed how Manny punched so hard and fast that the mitts echoed like gunshots. The chemistry was instant. Roach immediately agreed to take him under his wing. From there, things moved quickly. Manny adapted to Western-style boxing, balancing offense with smart defense and footwork. Under Roach, he improved his jab, learned angles, and most importantly, he learned patience. Roach turned the provincial slugger into a polished warrior. This new version of Pacquiao shocked the boxing world when he got his first major fight in the US against South African Lelo Ledwaba in 2001. Pacquiao took the fight on 2 weeks' notice and absolutely annihilated the champion in 6 rounds. This was supposed to be a stay-busy fight for Ledwaba. Instead, it became the coronation of a new king. In 2003, Pacquiao faced Mexican legend Marco Antonio Barrera in San Antonio, Texas. At the time, Barrera was considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Manny was the underdog. People mocked his smile, his broken English, and his small frame. What happened next was one of the most shocking upsets in boxing history. From the opening bell, Pacquiao blitzed Barrera with speed and combinations. Barrera had never faced anything like it. Round after round, Manny overwhelmed him. Barrera was knocked down twice and eventually stopped in the 11th round. The boxing world was stunned. This wasn't just a win, it was a beatdown. That fight made Pacquiao a household name in America. Suddenly, ESPN, HBO, and Showtime were calling. He became the face of the Philippines and a new global boxing star. But that was only the beginning. What followed would be a series of brutal, historic wars that would define his legacy. Manny Pacquiao's rise through the boxing ranks wasn't a fairy tale, it was a war. Each bout was a test of survival. By the time he turned professional at just 16, he was already hardened by the streets, with a heart fueled by hunger and purpose. He started in the light flyweight division, barely tipping the scales. His first fights were in dusty gyms with faulty lighting, in front of crowds who bet on fighters like cockfights. Despite being underweight and underfunded, Manny possessed something rare: relentless drive. As he racked up victories, his name began circulating among local promoters. But the opportunities were scarce, and the pay was laughable. His turning point came when he met trainer Freddie Roach in the US. Freddie saw something raw and explosive in Manny, something he hadn't seen in decades. Their bond would become legendary. Roach refined Manny's wild, aggressive style and transformed him into a surgical destroyer. The combination of Roach's tactical brilliance and Pacquiao's explosive speed became boxing's most dangerous recipe. Each victory brought him closer to stardom, but it came at a cost. Injuries, sleepless nights, betrayal by managers, and the guilt of leaving his struggling family behind haunted him. Yet, Manny powered through. His breakout fight came in 2001, when he took a fight against Lelehanalo Ledwaba on 2 weeks' notice and dominated him. The world took notice. A Filipino tornado had arrived. As Manny climbed the ladder, he began facing boxing legends. From Marco Antonio Barrera to Eric Morales, Manny transformed from an underdog to a giant slayer. His trilogy with Morales is still considered one of the most brutal and emotionally charged rivalries in boxing history. With every fight, Pacquiao showcased not just strength, but evolution. He became faster, smarter, more versatile. What made him unique was not just his fists, but his humility. Even after knocking out giants, he'd kneel and pray. He didn't boast, he gave thanks. He became a symbol of hope for millions of Filipinos who saw their own struggles in him. He didn't just represent a country, he carried it. Streets in the Philippines would go silent when he fought. Crime rates dropped to zero during his matches. He wasn't just a boxer, he was a national treasure. But with fame came the shadows. As he rose, whispers grew louder. Some claimed he was using performance-enhancing drugs due to his rapid size and power increase. Though never proven, the rumors tarnished some of his biggest victories. On the business side, corrupt managers siphoned off millions. Manny, often too trusting, fell victim to manipulation. He also suffered from infidelity and gambling issues, admitting to spending nights in casinos and bars. He later confessed these sins publicly, attributing his transformation to a deep Christian awakening. But these scandals, while dark, only added layers to his complex journey. Manny wasn't perfect, he was painfully human. The world waited for it. The biggest fight of the 21st century, Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. It was a dream match marinated in years of anticipation. The media circus was insane. It was a clash of styles, personalities, and ideologies. Mayweather, the flashy, undefeated tactician. Pacquiao, the humble brawler with a nation on his shoulders. When the fight finally happened in 2015, it broke every record. Biggest purse, most pay-per-view buys, most global viewers. But the fight itself was controversial. Pacquiao revealed he had fought with a torn rotator cuff, an injury concealed from the public. Critics accused Mayweather of dodging throughout the match, while others praised his strategy. Manny lost, but in defeat, he gained even more respect for showing grit and grace.
When we talk about boxing legends, a few names always come up. Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather. But there is one name that stands above the rest in terms of historic records: Manny Pacquiao, a fighter who came from nothing and broke every possible barrier. But here is the shocking truth most casual fans do not know. Manny Pacquiao holds more world records than any boxer in history. And we are not talking about simple stats. We are talking about records that may never be broken. Today, we are diving into every world record Manny Pacquiao holds, comparing him to the greats, and showing you exactly why he is the most decorated boxer of all time. Stay till the end because Pacquiao's legacy is bigger than belts. Let us start with the most iconic. Manny Pacquiao is the only boxer in history to become a world champion in 8 different weight divisions. No one, absolutely no one, has ever done it. From flyweight, 112 pounds, all the way up to light middleweight, 154 pounds. Pacquiao defied size, age, and physics. Most fighters dominate 1 or 2 divisions. Floyd Mayweather conquered 5, Oscar De La Hoya captured 6, but Pacquiao, he captured 8. That is why this record is untouchable, and it alone could define his legacy. Lineal championships are about being the man who beat the man, not just grabbing a vacant belt. Manny Pacquiao has held lineal titles in 5 different weight divisions: flyweight, featherweight, super featherweight, light welterweight, and welterweight. Only legends chase the lineal path, and Pacquiao dominated it 5 times, more than any boxer in history. Manny Pacquiao is the only boxer to win world titles across 4 different decades: the 1990s, 2000s, 2010, and 2020. Think about that. He was still winning belts in his 40s when most boxers are long retired. Fighters like Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, and even Floyd Mayweather ruled their eras. Pacquiao ruled 4. Not only did he win titles across 4 decades, he did it faster than anyone in history. From 1998 to 2021, Pacquiao's championship span lasted 23 years, making him the youngest ever to do so over 4 decades. That is not just longevity, that is dominance over time. Manny Pacquiao has defeated 22 different world champions across his career. That is more than Floyd Mayweather, who defeated 21, more than Oscar De La Hoya, who defeated 19, and far more than most Hall of Famers. These were not nobodies. They were legends like Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto, and even Keith Thurman. Every win added to his legacy and crushed another elite fighter's dream. Pacquiao was not just breaking boxing records, he was breaking racial and continental barriers. He became the first Asian boxer in history to win world titles in 3 or more weight classes. In fact, no other Asian fighter has come close to achieving what he did across 8. Manny Pacquiao is the most successful pay-per-view boxer outside of the United States. He generated over 20 million pay-per-view buys across his career and nearly $1.2 billion in revenue. The only fighter who surpasses him overall is Floyd Mayweather. And guess what? Their 2015 bout still holds the record for the highest grossing boxing match in history, generating 4.6 million pay-per-view buys and over $600 million in revenue. Pacquiao was named Fighter of the Decade, 2000 to 2009, by the Boxing Writers Association of America, and also won the Fighter of the Year award 3 times. No other boxer has been both this consistent and this respected across eras. Not even Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather took both titles this often. Let us compare. Floyd Mayweather, undefeated but fought in 5 divisions. Sugar Ray Leonard, iconic but held titles in 5. Mike Tyson, feared but never left heavyweight. Canelo Alvarez, currently rising but has not crossed even half of what Manny achieved in total titles. Pacquiao is not just a record holder, he is the most versatile, adaptable, and battle-tested fighter in modern boxing history. He beat bigger men, younger men, and faster men, all while moving up in weight. Outside the ring, Manny Pacquiao became a senator of the Philippines, donated millions to charity, and built homes for the poor in his country. He gave back more than any other boxing legend has done during their active career. While other fighters flexed cash and cars, Pacquiao built schools, fed families, and gave hope. That is a world record in humility. In 2019, at 40 years old, Pacquiao defeated undefeated champion Keith Thurman to win the World Boxing Association super welterweight title, making him the oldest man to hold that championship. At an age where most fighters decline or quit, Pacquiao proved he could still beat the best of the new generation.
Pacquiao's meteoric rise in Asia drew him to the US by age 19. But insiders claimed several early fights were arranged. Opponents dropped early, purses aligned, judges swooping in to score tightly. While never confirmed, whispered allegations taint certain knockouts, mirrored by known mob involvement in early Philippine boxing. Some challenging fighters inexplicably missed weight, creating easier matchups. Rumor or a system manipulated, the victories piled up, and so did doubts. Pacquiao's left hook demolished legends. But multiple sparring partners later admitted to being hospitalized. One partner even fainted and vanished from media. In the ring, his brutal body shots fractured ribs closer than expected. Referees sometimes paused bouts in shock. He once landed a punch so low that judges ruled it an illegal move, but his opponent crumpled 2 rounds later. These were moments few saw, but many felt. Manny earned upwards of $500 million from boxing and endorsements. Yet in 2013, Philippine authorities froze 2.2 billion Cuban pesos, $40 M USD, in tax controversies. Year-long audits followed. Controversies swirled over campaign donations hidden behind NGO fronts. At one point, multiple properties were signed to trusts under his wife's name, shielding assets from creditors, purportedly due to gambling debts. The scandal shook Filipino trust in their hero. Pacquiao has never officially failed a drug test. Yet suspicions surfaced when a scheduled out-of-competition test disappeared after a major win. The U.S. anti-doping agency confirmed paperwork mishandled itself, yet samples allegedly expired. Opponents' camps whispered of systematic testing malfunctions, all favoring Manny's victories. Denied official sanctions, but fueling doubt within boxing circles. Away from glory, Manny faced heartbreak. Worse than any knockout. A close friend died in a car crash while registering his recent fight purse. His estranged father later died anonymously. He kept news silent. He survived near assassination threats during his Senate campaign. An explosion plot prevented him from attending one final debate. Many of these tragedies were buried by his team, so his public image never fractured. Manny's political career brought more bans, from foreign donations being frozen to mayoral protests. His call-outs of corruption and pandemic funds allegedly cost him political allies. When he accused powerful businessmen, his campaign funds evaporated. Prominent figures wept that his career was sabotaged, official denials broadcast, but his legacy delivered blows backstage. Some say he was sacrificed for political equilibrium. Pacquiao's resume is unmatched. 8 division titles, over 70 wins, fighter of the decade, senator, philanthropist, Olympic medalist. He is the only boxer to win major titles in 4 different decades. Yet these achievements overshadow hidden compromises, carefully timed opponents, sudden opponent weight failures, political positioning, and rumor-drenched controversies. None of these cancel his greatness, but they complicate the man behind the legend. Now retired, Manny is not slowing down. He's training future fighters, funding orphanages, building homes for the poor, and considering a future run for president. His mission has never been just about glory, it's about giving back. He remains a hero, not because of what he owns, but because of what he overcame. Manny Pacquiao's story is not just a biography. It's a legacy written in sweat, tears, and punches. It's a story that reminds us, no matter where you start, you can rise. And that even the poorest kid, selling bread in the streets with hunger in his belly and fire in his soul, can one day shake the world.